They're beginning to sort themselves out for this Weatherbys champion bumper. It looks as though Harry Cobden wants a prominent position on Tishan in those royal blue and pink silks, in which he was third last year on Captain Teague, who's a fancy for Friday. Coming into line then for this final race, let's join Stuart Machin.
The flag's now raised. They're off. Away first time for the Weatherbys champion bumper, and Tishan in the blue and pink racing enthusiastically, leading the field up the straight first time, with Quebecois stablemate in behind, orange jacket slipstreaming Tishan. 6 Mile Bridge in the pink silks is handy with Bill Joyce in a white jacket, and C'est a Chance with the white face away to the right. Sans Victorious, dark jacket with the white sleeves just in behind the leaders, with the yellow clay and the red cap, and just in behind stablemate Jalon D'oudairies, who's in the maroon and white Jigginstown silks. Away to the left, Bryony Frost on the grey Stavy, his upside Cantico in the brown and yellow. Union Avenue in a red jacket back in midfield, just behind You Ought to Know in the purple and yellow, and the grey Argento Boy and Fleuro Fusel, the hoops on the cap. Further back then to Romeo Coolio in a black and white jacket, Dirty Den in the maroon and white is towards the rear early, with Fishery Lane. Jasmin De Vaux ridden with great patience by Patrick Mullins, and the double green, he's in the last group of 4, and alongside him Harry Skelton, black jacket aboard Royal Infantry, as they climb the hill and head towards the end of more than half a mile in the Weatherbys champion bumper. And it's Tishan who leads up to the yellow clay and Quebecois, and then Cantico and the grey Stavy races out wide, followed by Jalon D'oudairies. 6 Mile Bridge in a pink jacket towards the inside from Sans Victorious, and then Bill Joyce in the white silks. Towards the inside, C'est a Chance was cutting the corner. Still held up at this stage, Jasmin De Vaux, with just Royal Infantry and Fishery Lane in behind. But in truth, they're very well grouped as they move steadily towards the end of more than 3/4 of a mile, and Tishan takes them along at around about 30 miles an hour, with little more than 10 lengths covering the field. Quebecois, orange jacket, is disputing second with the yellow clay, and then Cantico with a yellow cap to the grey Stavy wide. Jalon D'oudairies and the maroon and white handy, with C'est a Chance towards the near side of 6 Mile Bridge and Sans Victorious. The other of the greys, Argento Boy in a red cap, as now out wide Jasmin De Vaux begins to creep a little bit closer. The double green silks, the spotted cap for Patrick Mullins. He's followed out deep by Royal Infantry. You Ought to Know in the purple and yellow is held up with Romeo Coolio and Union Avenue and Fishery Lane, and Dirty Den is last of a still very well clustered up field, with Fleuro Fusel pulling hard in midfield, the shades of blue, the hoop cap for Jody Townend. Across the top of the track they go, well beyond the halfway point in the Weatherbys champion bumper. Tishan, who was keen in the early part of the race, still leading by 2 lengths. The one who's dropped off from is Stavy, beginning to tail off. The yellow clay sits on the leader's tail, just ahead of Quebecois orange jacket in third. Cantico begins the descent close up, with Ownermate, the grey Argento Boy, out wide. Stavy's being pulled up. C'est a Chance is down on the inner, tracking Jalon D'oudairies on the descent. Then Sans Victorious, dark jacket with the white sleeves, only 3 lengths off the lead. In truth, most of them have a chance here as they head inside the last half mile, and they're about to begin the run for home. Tishan, the yellow clay with the red cap. Quebecois out wide, Cantico and Argento Boy, followed there by Jasmin De Vaux in the double green and Royal Infantry in a black jacket. Then Fleuro Fusel and Sans Victorious. Jalon D'oudairies in the maroon and white is poised. Romeo Coolio, black and white, getting into it on the inner as Quebecois falls back through the field, and they're about to swing for home just outside the last quarter mile. Tishan, the strong challenging Jalon D'oudairies, comes there powerfully with stablemate Romeo Coolio. Out wide the yellow clay, into the straight they come, widest of all Jasmin De Vaux away to the left from Fleuro Fusel. It's an Elliott pair who've moved on here. Romeo Coolio noses ahead under Keith Donoghue, away to the left. Jasmin De Vaux though is beginning to surge home, the other Elliott runner battling away. Jalon D'oudairies deep inside the furlong. Jasmin De Vaux, is this Willie Mullins stake with destiny? He has to fight hard because Romeo Coolio is battling back willingly, but in the hands of Patrick Mullins, it's Jasmin De Vaux. Willie Mullins, 100 not out of the Cheltenham Festival. Romeo Coolio went down fighting, very close for third between Jalon D'oudairies and Sans Victorious, and running on late Fishery Lane.
Patrick Mullins rides his legendary father Willie's 100th Cheltenham Festival winner, and he's chosen right. And he had a choice initially of 9 to ride in this. Spot on again. Romeo Coolio for Gordon Elliott's Run a Mighty Race in second place. Running through for third is the favourite Jalon D'oudairies. Elliott second and third, but Mullins to the fore for the umpteenth time in the bumper. And history is made here at Cheltenham. Jasmin De Vaux for Simon Menier and Isaac Swade, who must have been disconsolate when El Fabiolo couldn't complete the champion chase. They have their winner now, and the day ends much as it began.
Yeah, beautiful symmetry and an amazing tale, really. To have 100 festival winners is one thing. For your son to not even have been riding at the time you had your first one, and for him to be the fella who's aboard on the day you get to the century mark, is a feat that may take a long old time before it's repeated, if it's ever repeated. Sees off the two Elliott runners who challenge more towards the inside. They've almost seemed to have harmed each other. They've had a crack at each other, maybe softened each other up, and that's allowed the wide racing Jasmin De Vaux. Well done to Patrick. 8 to choose from. We talk about footballers and football managers having a nice problem to have when you've got to pick between a strong squad. This is an example of that in racing form, and he's got the absolutely right one in Jasmin De Vaux. As he's been saying in all the lead-up, he's been quite open about it. You couldn't be 100% confident. How could you when you've got such ammo? But this is the one he'd centred on as being his likely ride for a good few weeks now. And
he kind of knew, Jane, that the danger was in Cheltenham and not from within, and in fact it was two dangers from Gordon Elliott. Romeo Coolio has travelled like a very good horse and has not quite finished off as well as Jasmin De Vaux, and racing in a different part of the track, and Willie looks absolutely thrilled. That'll mean a huge amount.
It's the right way to do it with Patrick as well. He was a young boy when Weatherbys gave Willie Mullins the first of his 13 Cheltenham champion bumpers in 1996, and even younger when Tourist Attraction gave him his first of the 100.
And Weatherbys was ridden by Mr. Willie Mullins.
With Mr. Willy Wonka, were you going to say Willy Wonka?
Some magic
well, he definitely got the golden ticket anyway.
He certainly
Do you
does.
think he could name them all if you sat him down for an hour?
I'd say he wouldn't name all the winners today because his head will be in the clouds at the moment. This will be a dream come true for them. And Jasmin De Vaux, with the limited evidence that we've had to go on this season, he was impressive at Naas, but the form has taken knocks, and Patrick Mullins went for it anyway. And inexpensive purchase, 28 grand. Arkle store 3-year-old, went to the Crawfords, wins a point, and Bob's your uncle.
So Mullins wins the last race. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for Ireland, and Dan Skelton 7th. That is just about the embodiment of Cheltenham so far.